Why did the oldest known civilization on Earth treat the number 50 as divine? Why did the Sumerians, masters of astronomy, mathematics, and myth, describe their highest beings, the Anunnaki, not as individuals, but simply as the 50 great gods? No names, no faces, only a number. And here's the real mystery. This wasn't a symbolic count. It behaves like an astronomical code, hidden inside religion, myth, and ancient calendars. From temple hymns to epic stories, the number 50 appears again and again, marking power, cosmic time, and something far heavier than mythology alone can explain. Today, we decode why an entire civilization worshipped a number, and what secret they were trying to preserve. What are the Anunnaki? To understand the sacred 50, we must begin with the beings who define them. The Anunnaki, in Sumerian cosmology, and was the supreme sky god, the embodiment of the heavens themselves. From him came the Anunna, later known as the Anunnaki, meaning the children of An. But here's the strange part. In the earliest texts, these beings are almost never described as individuals. They have no detailed personalities, no heroic stories, no distinct roles. Instead, they appear as a collective, the 50 great gods, a council permanently seated on their thrones. Why always seated? In ancient astronomical language, those who sit symbolized fixed celestial positions, stars anchored in the sky, not wandering planets. This suggests the Anunnaki weren't merely deities, but representations of cosmic markers, possibly decans or stellar divisions used for timekeeping. So the Anunnaki weren't a pantheon of characters. They were a celestial system encoded as gods, anchored around a mysterious number. Why the number 50? To understand why the Sumerians treated 50 as sacred, we must first examine their cosmic mathematics. Their calendar was designed with remarkable precision. 12 months times 30 days equals 360 days. Then 5 additional days were added to complete a 365-day solar year, a system later mirrored in Egypt. But the deeper mystery lies in their sky mapping system. The Sumerians divided the heavens into 36 decans, fixed star groups that rotated through the night sky in 10-day intervals. These decans were the backbone of their timekeeping, their rituals, even their mythology. So where does 50 enter? Think of it as a number that sits beyond the calendar. It wasn't part of a simple count. It behaved like a cycle number, a complete revolution, or a cosmic reset point. Several ancient cultures preserved this idea. In Sumer, the Anunnaki equals 50 great gods. In Egypt, gods grouped around 50-year cycles and decanal rotations. In Greece, Jason's Argonauts equals 50 oarsmen, echoing an older cosmology. The recurrence of 50 across civilizations suggests it wasn't chosen randomly. It acted as a celestial unit, a marker tied to movement in the sky, possibly the orbit of a star whose cycle lasts about 50 years. In other words, 50 was not symbolic, it was astronomically functional, the sacred 50 appearing in myths. If the number 50 was only a ritual count, it wouldn't appear so persistently in the great heroic myths of the ancient world. Yet it does, almost identically. In the earliest Sumerian tales, Gilgamesh is never alone. He travels with 50 companions, a mysterious group with no individual identities, just like the Anunnaki. Their job? To row, march, and accompany the hero on a journey that is repeatedly connected with the celestial realm. Centuries later, the Greeks produced a myth with an almost impossible parallel. Jason and the Argonauts, who sail with exactly 50 oarsmen. Again, the number remains fixed. Again, the companions are semi-anonymous. Again, the goal of the voyage is a sacred, almost cosmic object, the Golden Fleece. These parallels are too specific to ignore. Both stories describe a voyage across danger, guided by a symbolic vessel, crewed by 50 figures who act more like constellations than humans. In ancient astronomy, boats navigating the sky, solar barks, star boats, night ships were common metaphors. So why 50? Because many ancient cultures encoded celestial movement, cycles, and stellar navigation into myth. The number 50 wasn't a coincidence. It was a cosmic signature, preserved through storytelling. The astronomy link, heavy star and the 50-year cycle. If the sacred 50 was only mythology, the pattern would have ended there. But the Sumerians left behind something far more unsettling. References to a heavy star, a celestial object so dense that even the mighty Gilgamesh, in his dream, could not lift it or move it. This star is directly connected with Anu, the sky god, placing it among the most important celestial bodies known to the Sumerians. But here's the shock. Sumerian texts describe the star using terms that resemble superdense matter, centuries before modern astrophysics. Later in Arabia, long after Sumer had disappeared, a star in the constellation of the Great Dog was given the name Al-Wazn, meaning the weight. Astronomers today know exactly which star fits that description. Sirius B, a white dwarf so dense that a teaspoon of its material would weigh tons on Earth. And Sirius B does something incredible. It orbits the bright Sirius A in a cycle of about 50 years. Now look at the pattern again. Sumerians worship a group called the Sacred 50. Their mythology describes a heavy, unmoving, irresistible star tied to the sky god. Later cultures also treat 50 as a cosmic cycle number. Modern astronomy reveals that the Sirius star system contains a 50-year orbital period. So the real question becomes unavoidable. Could the Sumerian sacred 50 be more than symbolism? Could it be an ancient echo of the 50-year orbit of Sirius B, a star invisible without modern telescopes? If so, then someone knew far more about the heavens than history admits. Cultural echo, the seated gods and celestial navigation. Across ancient civilizations, sitting was never just a physical posture. It was a cosmic position. When Sumerian texts say the Anunnaki are the 50 who sit, it signals fixed celestial points. Stars anchored in the sky, unmoving compared to wandering planets. To a sky-watching priesthood, seated gods equals constellations in stable formation. But a second pattern emerges. In Greek myth, the Argonauts, always 50 oarsmen, are portrayed as the ones who row the celestial ship. This rowing is symbolic of motion, not stillness. The slow, cyclical movement of an entire star system across the heavens. So we end up with two perfect symbolic layers. The 50 who sit equals fixed stars/divine thrones. The 50 who row equals the skyboat that moves through cycles. Both Sumer and Greece encode the same astronomical principle. A cluster of 50 celestial forces, some stationary, some in motion. Final interpretation, decoded meaning. The number 50 was never a random sacred symbol. It was a cosmic signature. Across Sumer, Egypt, and Greece, the recurrence of 50 seated gods, 50 oarsmen, and 50 celestial powers suggests a shared astronomical code embedded inside mythology. When Sumerian priests spoke of the 50 great gods, they were not simply invoking deities, they were pointing to a cycle. A cycle long enough to escape ordinary observation yet short enough to remain meaningful. Modern science reveals something striking. Sirius B completes an orbit every 50 years. This is a fact impossible to detect with the naked eye. The star is invisible, tiny, and overwhelmingly dense. So why did ancient cultures repeatedly anchor everything in 50? One possibility remains. The Sumerians preserved fragments of a sky knowledge far older than their civilization. Knowledge that aligns perfectly with a 50-year cosmic rhythm tied to the Sirius system. The sacred 50 wasn't mythology. It was astronomy encrypted. Outro/next episode hook. The mystery of the sacred 50 is only the beginning. If the Sumerians encoded cosmic cycles inside their religion, the next question is, where else did they hide this knowledge? To find that answer, we must follow the trail into their oldest hero myths, stories that later shaped Greek legends. Because the moment we compare Gilgamesh with the Argonauts, a new pattern emerges: 50 companions, dragon teeth warriors, and a celestial boat pointing toward the same sky code.